A divorce can be challenging, especially in difficult economic times. Divorces are difficult by nature in terms of the financial impact that it has on two parties, and especially that's more so felt when we have a difficult economic situation like we have now. During those times, there are alternatives that I explore with clients when they come in to see us at Zimmer, Matheson and Associates. One of those alternatives are divorce by separation. In a divorce by separation, we do the same thing we would normally do in a divorce, which is to divide assets and make arrangements between parties with respect to children and the parenting time schedules between the parties. But the parties during that time are not getting fully divorced. One spouse is able to remain on the other's health insurance policy during that time, since they will not be technically divorced. Also, during that time, the parties can still file joint tax returns and still claim married status at work. So, all these and other different features are helpful to parties who want to ease into a divorce situation, and especially during challenging economic times. Another alternative to a separation is to do a divorce through mediation. And at Zimmer, Matheson Associates, we've been doing mediation for 3 decades now. Mediation, when I'm working as a mediator in a case, I am not representing the husband or the wife. I'm representing both parties, the wife and the husband. And I'm meeting with both of them and discussing with them the best way to not just terminate the marriage, but also to, again, divide assets and work out a custodial situation that is workable for both parties and the children and the family and their lifestyle. A mediation, by its nature, since it involves only one attorney doing the mediation as the mediator, it's obviously less costly than two attorneys fighting it out in a contested matter. It's much quicker than a contested divorce, and it can be done by the parties and what they feel is appropriate for their given situation. I'm always telling parties that when they go to court, the problem is not just that divorce is difficult, but that you're letting a judge, someone who does not know you or your family, make decisions on what is going to happen with your life. In mediation, both parties come in, they work with myself, an experienced mediator and matrimonial attorney, and we're coming up with solutions that benefit both parties on terms they want, not terms being decided by a third party who does not know them or have any interest in seeing one or the other succeed in the case. They're just looking to end it when things go up to a court. So they're more interested in moving to the next case than ending a case in a way that satisfies both parties. So mediation is one alternative, separation agreement is another alternative. In some alternatives where parties don't want a divorce at all, but they feel that it may be happening in the future, we can even do something called a postnuptial agreement, which is a divorce agreement that would come into effect in the future if the event either party does file for a divorce. It's very similar to a prenuptial agreement, with the only difference being this is an agreement that is done during the party's marriage as opposed to before they get married. So these are three alternatives to divorce that parties can explore. All of them obviously do end up the same way in terms of terminating the marriage or ending the marriage, but they are slower and less costly alternatives that certainly parties can consider. Ultimately, they can do a straightforward divorce, and certainly that can always be done, and that's probably the majority of any law firm's caseload, including our own.